Welcome back to the channel. I have got a lots of requests on this Laravel Excel package. So here we are. I'm going to create two videos on this Laravel Excel package. In the first video, I will focus on how we can export data into the Excel file from the Laravel application, and second video will be on how we can import Excel data. Before moving ahead, one request: if you like tutorials like this, please subscribe to the channel and press bell icon so when I upload new videos you get notified. Your support motivates me to make more tutorial videos. Now without wasting more time, let's start. Today in this lesson we will see how we can export data into the Excel file. So let's start. So first let's go to the documentation and the installation step, and here is the requirement of this package, and make sure you fulfill these requirements. And this package built on top of PHP spreadsheet package, this one. Now let's install this package into the Laravel application. I have already installed the fresh Laravel 7 application, and in this app I will run composer command. It's installed. Next we don't need this step because we are on Laravel 7 and Laravel 7 has auto discovery feature. So now we will see how we can export data into the Excel file. This Laravel Excel package provides us new artisan make export command. In this command we specify the export class and then we specify the optional model name which we are going to export, and this command going to generate this boilerplate code for us, and it is going to export all the data of this user model. Let's try this out. So in the terminal here I'll run php artisan make export, and in the fresh installation of Laravel 7 we already have default users table, so I'm going to export that users data into the Excel file. So here I'll create users export and we will pass model option, and here we will pass user model. Let's go to the editor. In the app exports users export.php, and here we have a boilerplate code for us. This users export class implements from collection interface, and this interface required this collection method, and in this collection method we have to return collection of data, and in our case we have returned the all users collection. Next let's go to the web.php, and here I'll create a new route users export and users export controller at export. Now let's create this controller. So in the terminal here I'll run php artisan make controller users export controller http controllers. Here we have users export controller. Next I'll create method export. Now in this method I'll say return Excel download, and in this download method I will pass this users export class. So here I'll say new users export, and then we will pass our Excel file name. Let's say that is users.xlsx extension. Make sure to import this class right here, and here we will import this users export class as well. Now let's go to the terminal and run php artisan serve, and next let's open this in the browser users export, and here we go, it has downloaded this users Excel file, and let's open this, and here we have all the users from the database. And how easy it is. Here to download this Excel file we have used this Excel facade. This Laravel Excel package also provides us exportable trait. Let's try this. So in the users export class here I'll say use exportable trait, and now here in this controller we don't need this facade, so here we can say new user export, and then we can call download method, and in this download method we will pass the Excel file name. Now let's go to browser, let's hit enter, and here we go, it has downloaded the Excel file and it works exactly the same. We can even make it more shorter. Here in this users export class, it uses this exportable trait. Along with that, here I will also add interface responsible. Next, here I will add private property $file name, and that is users.xlsx file name. That's all we here need. Now in this controller, and here we will just return new users export class, and it will work. Let's see, hit enter, and here we go, it has downloaded the Excel file. Works exactly same. It looks nice and clean, but after a few days if we come back and see this code, we may get confused. Here this code does not explain what it is doing. So instead of this, what I resolve this Excel facade in this export function like this $Excel, and then here I'll say $Excel download new users export, and then the Excel file name. And let's go to browser, hit enter. Here this Excel class should not be the facade class, instead it should be this class. Now let's go browser and hit enter, and it works. It has downloaded the Excel file. Here we go. Now here we can easily understand that we are downloading the Excel file using this users export class. Some people do not like to add dependency injection in the method. So instead of this, you can also inject this dependency in the constructor method. So here I'll add method, construct method, and in this method I'll pass Excel dependency. And next here I'll say $this Excel is equal to $Excel, this Excel right here, and here I'll define private $Excel. Next in this export function we will say $this Excel download user export class, and let's go browser, hit enter, and it works the same. Here we are downloading the data in this XLSX format. You can also download it with other formats as well. For example, XLS or CSV or other available formats. We will see this in the documentation. First, let's try this in the browser. So if we hit enter, we get the data in the CSV format. By default, the export format is determined by the file extension. But if you want to define it explicitly, then you can pass it in the next parameter. For example, for this CSV file, here we can pass Excel CSV. Let's go to browser, hit enter, and here it is downloaded in the CSV format. If we go to the documentation, here in the export formats, and here are the formats this package supports: ODS, XLS, HTML. It can also download it in the PDF file. For exporting PDF file, you have to also install the respective PDF library. For example, for this DOM PDF, we need to also install DOM PDF library. Let's try this. So here, in the terminal, let's close this, and here I'll run composer require DOM PDF / DOM PDF. Now it is installed. Next, here we just need to specify user PDF and DOM PDF. Now let's go to browser, and here let's hit enter. I forgot to run artisan serve command, php artisan serve, and refresh, and here we go, it has downloaded the PDF file, and here we have all the user data. Here in this collection method we are using the Laravel Eloquent, and this user all method returns the collection class. Let's see, and let's go to browser and refresh. You will see it is the Illuminate Database Eloquent collection class. Now what if we have to export the data that is not using the Eloquent? For example, we are collecting the data from the API and that is in the array format. So here it will not work. Let's see, we have data in array format and that returns, and in this array we have Harish and email is harish@example.com. Now if we try to export this data, it will give us error. So how we can export this? For that, one solution is that we convert this data into the collection. For that we can use new collection class of the Laravel Eloquent, this one, and in this collection class we pass the array data. And now if we go browser and hit enter, and it has exported the data, and it is downloaded the PDF file. I don't want that. I will download it in Excel format, and here we are not using this responsible, so we can delete this, and file name doesn't required. So now let's remove this, and now hit enter, and it has downloaded the Excel file. Instead of this new collection class, you prefer to use plain array, then we can use from array interface. Let's try this. So here instead of this from collection, I will use from array. Now this from array required array method. Next, we don't need this new collection. Now we go to browser and hit enter. It has given us error. That is because here we have to declare the return type. Now go to browser, hit enter one more time, and it has downloaded the Excel file from the given array. Instead of this from array, we can also export from blade view file. Let's see. So here I'll say from view, and next we need method view, and here we need to define the return type view, this one, Illuminate contract view class, and next here we need to return view, and here we pass the view file. Let's say exports dot users. In the next parameter I'll pass users user class all. Next we will create this blade file. So in the resources views, here I'll create new file exports users dot blade dot php, and here I'll create table thead, and that has tr name and let's say email. Next here I'll pass tbody. Here we will call for each loop, and that is users $user. Next we call tr td, and let's print user name and user email. Now let's go browser, hit enter, and it has downloaded the new user Excel file, and here we get the all users name and email address. Let's go back to from collection. So here is the collection method, and let's remove this, and it will return all users. Now let's go browser, hit enter, and here we have the all data. But here you can see that to view the name we have to resize the cell manually. like this. So instead of this, what we can do, here we will implement should auto size interface. Now let's go browser, hit one more time. In this time you will see that all the cell size are auto resized according to the text size in the cell. It is the user ID, this is the username, it's the email address, and this column is the email verified at date, and this is the created date, and this is the updated date. This package has automatically downloaded all the visible columns in the user table. In the user table we also have other columns like password and remember token. That is not downloaded here. Why is that? If we go to the user model, here you can see the password and remember token is in the hidden property. So if we have any column which we do not want to export, then we can add this in the hidden property. For example, in this Excel file, we do not want to download email verified add column, and we can add that email verified column right here in this hidden property. But it is not the ideal solution, because we could have any column which we do not want to export, but we also do not want to include that into this hidden property. So how we can do that? For that, this package provides us mapping data feature. We will implement this with mapping interface, and this mapping interface required this map method, and in this map method we will specify the column name which we want to add. Let's try this. So in the user export, here I will implement with mapping. Next we will need to add method map, and then we need to declare the return type array, and this method I will return array. This map method will accept the user, and here I want to map user ID and user email. Next, $user created at. Now go to browser, hit enter. I forgot to import this class. Now let's go browser, hit enter. Now it has downloaded the user file, and now we have user ID, email ID and created at column. Now here we are downloading the data from the user model only. Now let's say we have requirement to download the user data along with its relationship model. For example, let's say we have an address model, and this address model associate with this user model. Along with this user model, we have also need to export address of this user as well. So how we can do that? So first let's create the user and address relationship. So first let's close this, and here I'll create PHP artisan make model address, and I will create migration address factory as well. Now in the editor, let's go to database, migrations. Here we have address, and I will add table, let's say string, and let's say column name is country. Now this address table can have other column as well. Let's add only country. Next in the factory, address factory, and here I'll add country, and here I'll say faker country. I forgot to add user ID column in the address table. That is required to create relationship between user and address. So $table big integer user ID, and in the factory here I'll add user ID function, and next here I'll return factory user class and create its ID. Now in the terminal, let's run the migration. PHP artisan migrate fresh Now let's create some dummy content. So in the PHP artisan tinker factory app address class create, and I will create, let's say, 30 address. Now it's created, and run the PHP artisan serve. Next, in the database, refresh, and we have user data, and in this user data we have 30 users. Next, in the addresses table we have 30 address for each user. Let's close this, and in the users table this user have single address, so I'll create method address, and it will return $this has one address class. Now to verify it, in the users export, let's say $user is equal to user with address, and let's fetch the first user, and next I will dump that user here. Now let's go to browser, refresh, and we get the user model, and in the relationship we have the user address. We have a relationship between user and address. Next, instead of this user all, I will return this user with addresses get, and remove this. Next, here in this map method, here I will add $user address country. So here what we did, we have a user address relationship, and each user has one address, and next in this collection method we fetch the all user with his address. Next, in the map method we added the user ID, user email address, and user address country, and next user created ad. Now let's go browser and enter. Now we should get the country as well. We have user ID, email address, country, and created ad. Now here I also want to add headings for these columns like ID, email, country, and created ad. For that, in the documentation we have, here it is. Here we will implement this with headings interface, and then we will add this headings method. Let's try this. Here let's add with headings. Here next, here I will add method headings and declare the return type array. Here we will return array, and in this array we will specify the heading names. For example, first is the ID, so here I'll pass hash for that, and next is the email address, so here we'll pass email. Next is the country, so here I'll pass country. Last heading is the created ad. Now let's go to browser and hit enter. Forget to import this interface. Hit enter, and here we have new Excel file, and this time it has the heading. We can also change its style. For example, we can make it bold, or we can change its background color or some other styling. Let's see this. For that, in the documentation, extending, and this extending has events. For events we use this with events interface, and then we need to add this register events method. We have these events. I mostly use this after sheet event. Let's try this. So in the editor, let's move them into the next line, and next here I'll add with events, and make sure to import this class. Next we need to add this register events method. So here I'll add method register events. Next let's declare the return type array, and in this method I'll return array. Now in this array we will use after sheet event equal to closure function, and this function is also going to accept after sheet $event. Now here in this after sheet we will change the style of this heading. So for that here I'll say $event and then sheet, and then we will get the style, and in this style we will pass the cell range. In our case that cell range is A1 to D1. So here I'll pass A1 to D1, and next here we'll apply style, apply from array method, and in this apply from array method we will pass style in array. For example, we want to make font bold true, and now let's go to the browser, hit enter. Now our heading text is bold. We can add more style to it. For example, this border style, let's add this also right here, and go to browser, enter, and here it is. This is the new style added here. If you want to read more about style in the documentation, then you have to read about more style option in the official PHP spreadsheet package, and that is listed here. Here we will search style, this option style, and here in this page you can see more style options. You can try this out. For now let's remove this. Now here in our example our user data is very small. Now what if you have very large data? So in that case if you try to download, it will use more server resources and it will affect your server performance. For that this package provides us from query interface. In this from query we prepare the query for export, and behind the scene this query executes it in chunks. So to try this we have to implement this from query. Here we implement from query. Let's import this, and next we need this query method. So here we don't need this collection method, instead we need this query method. Let's remove this, and it will return query. And now if we go to browser, hit enter, here we got error. That is because right here we have used this from collection. Because we are using from queries, we no longer need this. So let's remove this and hit enter again. Undefined method builder query. Error is here. It should be like this, user query and then with address. Now try this one more time and it works. For now we will not see any difference because we have very small data, but for the large data it will execute the query in chunks. So it is very useful to use it for better performance for the large data. Now let's say you also want to display your logo in this export. For that it provides us drawings interface, this one. So let's try this. We will implement this with drawings interface, and let's import this. Next we will use this drawings method. So let's copy it and paste it right here. Now here we need to import this class, new drawing. Make sure to import this PHP Office PHP spreadsheet worksheet drawing class. Next you can set any your logo name, your logo description, and here is the logo path. I have already a logo in the public directory. Here is the Laravel logo. So what I am going to do, I am going to specify it right here. Public path Laravel logo.png. Next we need to specify the height of this logo. Let's leave it 90, and then we need to specify coordinates where this logo should start. Right now it is B3. Let's try and see the result. So go to browser, hit enter, and now right here you can see the Laravel logo. Here the logo is above the text and we don't want that. So here what I will do, I will start this logo from the B2 and the content of this Excel should start from the A8 from here. So let's see. For that, for the custom start, here we need to import the interface with custom start cell, and next we will create method start cell, and it should return string, and in this method here I'll return A8 and our logo should start from B2. Now let's try this. Hit enter. Let's open this, and now you can see our logo is from B2 and here our text start from the A8. Now our heading is no longer bold because in the after sheet we have specified the cell A1 and D1. Here we also need to modify it to A8 to D8. Hit enter. Let's open this, and here we go. Now it is bold. Right now we are only exporting one worksheet. What if we need to export more worksheet? So let's see this. So in the documentation, here is the multi-sheet option. So here we have a new class that implements the with multiple sheets interface, and then it has this sheets method, and in this sheet we can add multiple sheets. So let's try this. So in terminal here I'll create new export. So PHP artisan make export user multi-sheet export. Next in the editor, here we have new user multi-sheet export, and now here I will implement with multi-sheets, and now we don't need this collection method, and here we need method sheets and its return type is array. Let's say here we have a $sheets and it is empty array, and here we will return $sheets. So here what we will do, I will create multiple sheets for every month, and each month sheet has all the users created on that particular month. For example, in the January sheet I will include all the users that is created in the January month. So let's see this. So here I'll say, let's say we have a method construct and it is going to accept int here, and then here we have $this here is equal to $year, and here I'll add private $year. Next here in this sheet method I'll say for loop $month is equal to 1 and $month less than equal to 12 and $month plus plus. And next here I'll say sheets array is equal to new users export, and in this export I will pass $this year and $month. Now in this users export class, here I'll create construct method and it is going to accept int $year and integer $month. And next $this year is equal to $year and $this month is equal to $month. And here I'll define that properties, private $year and private $month. Next, in this query we will say fetch users where year is created at $this year and where month is created at $this month. Next, in the user exports controller, here I'll say download user multi-sheet export, and here I'll pass user for particular year, let's say 2020. So let's review what we are doing here. Here we have created the user multi-sheet export, and it has a construct method that is going to accept here, which we have passed right here 2020, that is going to be here, and this year is going to be 2020. And then in the sheet method we iterate the all months, and then we fetch the sheets user export, and here we pass the this year and then month, and finally we return that here. Next, in the users export we accepted the year and month, and then we created the query to fetch only users that is created in the given year and given month. So before try this out, we should have some dummy users according to the different months. So let's modify the factory. So in the factory, user factory, here I will add new column created at, let's say carbon now, and subtract month, specify random month to subtract from 1 to 12. Now in the terminal I'll run php artisan migrate fresh, php artisan tinker, let's create 1000 users. Now we have some records. Next, let's run the php artisan serve, and in the browser let's try this if it works. Oops, here is the error. Here it should be double underscore. Now let's go browser, hit one more time, and it has downloaded the Excel file, and here we can see multiple sheets. It has added the number to each sheet because every sheet cannot have same name. If you want, you can add custom name to this sheet as well. So for that, in this user export, here we will implement new interface with title, and then here we will create method title, and it should have return type string. Next, let's return the, now here in this title method we have to figure out the month. We have this month which is the month number. So to calculate the month, here I'll use date time, and then we will say create from format, and here I'll pass node m and $this month, and after that we will format this date with capital F. That will return the month. Now let's go to browser, hit enter, and let's open this downloaded Excel sheet, and we have name for every sheet: January, February, March, April, and so on. Now sometime you may not want to download this Excel sheet. Instead you want to store it into your local server disk. So for that, in the controller right here, instead of this download we can use store, and this store method will download this generated Excel sheet into the default file system specified in this Laravel app. So if you go to config file system, the default file system is local, so it will download into the local system. Let's see. Now in the application, if you see storage app, here is the new users Excel sheet. Now if you don't want to store that sheet into your local system, in the third parameter you can specify the available file system you have. For example, in the file system, let's say you have this S3, you can specify S3 right here. You just have to configure this S3 file system and it will just work. This is all in this today's lesson, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.